Let's just continue the derivation of this Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization procedure. So we considered there will be capital M message signals. Each of them are denoted as Mi, where I ranges from 1 to M. And these are the signals which will be transmitted from the discrete source. Then we have Si of t to be the signals representing each individual message. So Mi represents the messages coming from a discrete source. There will be M possible messages, capital M possible messages, and every message signal will be, or every message Mi can be represented using the energy signals, finite energy signals in the form Si. Okay. And for each one, we can write a different signal in the form Si of t. And every Si of t will be represented by a linear combination of n orthonormal basis functions. So we have already discussed what are orthonormal basis functions. If you can recall, orthonormal basis functions are those which are defined like this. The inner product of the functions will be 0 and the energy of the functions should be 1. How do I write the inner product? If I have two signals x of t and y of t, their inner product is defined as integral x of t into y of t dt over the interval 0 to t. So this is the first property. This property is also called as the orthogonality also. Remember, I say these two signals are orthogonal if the area under the product is 0. If I find the area under the product of two signals, which is nothing but integral of the two signals, if it is 0, then they are orthogonal. That's the first condition for orthonormal functions. The second condition is each of the signals should have unit energy. See, the energy under x of t, x square t dt, this double norm is nothing but energy. Norm is root of energy. Remember, norm means we found the norm of a function. This norm is nothing but root of the energy. Okay, and double norm means it is energy. So here 0 to t x square t dt is the energy under the curve. It should be 1. Similarly, the energy under y of t should also be 1. If both these conditions are satisfied, then we call such functions as orthonormal functions. And we use a set of such functions as the basis functions to represent the message signal in the form Si of t. Let me consider those functions to be represented as phi 1 of t, phi 2 of t, so on till phi n of t. So all these values are a set of real orthonormal basis functions. Each exists for a duration of t seconds. Okay. So each one here exists for a duration of t seconds. Then by the definition, so how do I define this orthonormality? I can write it in this form. Combining both the equations into one equation, I can directly say integral 0 to t, let's say phi j of t into phi k of t dt can have two values. It can have the value 1 if j is equal to k. So if both the functions are similar, see, instead of x and y, if both were x, that means j is equal to k here. What happens if both are x? It becomes integral x square t dt. Its value should be 1, right? And its value should be 0 if j is not equal to k. So here, if these are different functions, if one is x and the other is phi, then the integral under the integral of x into y should be 0, which represents the orthogonality property. Remember, orthonormality includes two conditions. One is the signals should be orthogonal to each other if they are two different signals. If phi j and phi k represent two different signals, say for example, phi j represents a sine and phi k represents a cosine. So one is sine, the other is cos, they are two different signals. Then if I multiply sine into cos and find the area under one time period 0 to t, it will give me the value 0. Okay, that means sine is orthogonal to cos. The second condition is if both the signals are the same. If both are sine or both are cosine, then integral of cos square theta in the range 0 to t, cos square 2 pi ft in the range 0 to t will give you the value 1. Similarly, integral of sine square t in that range will give you 1. So both these conditions are combined into one condition in this equation. Okay, so let me call this equation 1. This defines the property of orthonormality. I hope this is clear. We had defined it before also. That's why for reference, I recalled these equations and we are defining it using a single equation. Here, all our phi values are real orthonormal functions. Okay, each of them exists for a duration of capital T seconds. So from this equation 1, what can we say? What is the thing? Each function phi I of t is of unit energy. Every function here, every orthonormal function will have unit energy. Remember that. Okay, which is shown in given by condition 1. So this is what you get by condition 1. And the second thing what we are considering is what? The functions phi I of t are pairwise orthogonal. That means if j is different from k, then they will be orthogonal or the area under the product should be 0. So this is the inference we get from equation 1. You say it can be seen that these two conditions are satisfied. Okay. These, you say, these n real valued functions, orthonormal functions if you want, you say, are called the basis functions. The other name for these orthonormal functions, they are also known as the basis functions, which we are going to use commonly whenever we consider digital modulation. Whenever we are going to transmit a signal digitally, we have to define every message in the form of a finite energy signal, and that finite energy signal will be written as a linear combination of orthonormal basis functions. Remember, every message Mi should be represented as a finite energy signal Si, which will be represented okay, can you see it? Okay, so Mi is represented, Mi is the message Here I ranges from 1 to m. Remember that. This is your message. It is represented by finite. All mi will be represented with a finite energy signal. Please understand this correctly. Finite energy signal Si. I again ranges from 1 to m, and each Si will be represented as a what? Linear combination of orthonormal basis functions. Understand this? Every SI we are going to represent as a linear equation. So every SI we will represent as a linear equation containing orthonormal basis functions in the form what? Phi I of t, including phi I of t, where, or let me write it as phi j of t, where j ranges from 1 to n. Remember, these orthonormal basis functions are represented as phi j of t, and I'll write it as a linear combination. I'll write the equation next. And one more thing you should remember, this capital N should always be less than m. I hope now you're able to follow this. You have messages mi. Every message will be represented as a finite energy signal Si, and I can have m such values, m messages, m signals, and every signal can be expressed as a linear equation including orthonormal basis functions, which are written in the form of phi j of t. Okay. And this j value can vary from 1 to capital N, and n should always be less than or equal to m. You say how to represent Si of t is summation j is equal to 1 to n Sij. I'll take a constant Sij, a coefficient, into phi j of t. You say where t lies between small t, the time is between 0 to capital T. This t is one time period. Remember, this capital T is one time period, the duration. And what is the value of I and j here? Remember, I is always from 1 to m and j is always from 1 to n. We have already defined. Okay. So did I give any number to this equation? So if that is equation 1, let me call this as equation 2. What is the meaning of this equation? So this implies, let me say S1 of t representing let me say M1 of t, which is represented by S1 of t, can be written as, say, S11 phi 1 plus S12, let me write it like this, phi 2, S13 phi 3, so on, S1n phi n of t. Okay, so this is what we say as a linear combination of orthonormal basis functions. Remember, phi 1, phi 2, phi 3 are all orthonormal basis functions. And what is orthonormality? We have already defined here. The first equation tells us what is orthonormality, and we have written every finite energy signal to represent a given message M1 as a linear equation containing coefficients combined with orthonormal basis functions. Whenever I have a plus like this is a linear equation, right? Similarly, if I write S2, which represents M2, S2 represents M2. It can be written as S21 phi 1, S22 phi 2, so on, S2n phi n. So I can represent each one like this. Let me give some numbers. 3, 4, S3 of T can be written as S31 phi 1, S32 phi 2, S33 phi 3, S3n phi n. Okay, so on we can go on writing. And lastly, if I have the message of T, for of T, I can have Sm of T, which can be written as Sm1 phi 1, Sm2 phi 2, so on, Smn phi n. Okay, so I can represent every finite energy signal which is used to represent a given message in the form of a linear combination of orthonormal basis functions which are given in the form of phi 1, phi 2, so on till phi n. Is this clear? So you can have this and you say, so based on equations, how many equations we have here? Say based on equation 3, 4, 5, 6 or equation 2, we can write a scheme for generating Si of t from phi 1, phi 2, etc. Phi 1, phi 2, so on. Can you draw that scheme? Just represent these equations in the form of a block diagram. You have these equations here, S1, S2. How do I get S1? I have to have the basis functions phi 1 till phi n. So let me have some basis functions. Phi 1. I'll take phi 1 and multiply it with what? Si1. If I have S1, I'll have S11, S12, so on. If I have S2, S21, S22, S3, S31, S32. So if I have Si, I'll multiply phi 1 with S1, Si1 and I'll take it to the next stage where I would add it with other similar signals. What is the next signal? Next signal I should have phi 2. Phi 2 is there. Let me give some gap. Yeah, I'll consider signal phi 2. It gets multiplied with Si2 and it gets added finally. Likewise, I can have Si3, so on, and I can have what? Here I can have phi n of t, which gets multiplied with Sin to get added in the final equation. And what is the value which I'm going to generate here? Here I'm going to generate the finite energy signal Si of t. Take for example I is equal to 1 here. Then you will have S11 into phi 1 plus S12 into phi 2, so on, plus S1n into phi n. Does it match with equation 3? See, S1 is S11 phi 1, S12 phi 2, so on, addition. So likewise for any value of I, okay, for any value of I ranging from 1 to n, I can have the signal represented like this. This is how I represent equation 2. So equation 2 is a short version of equations 3, 4, 5 and 6 combined. So how do I represent these coefficients S11, S12, S21 and all? I'll call the coefficients as Sij. Okay. And every time these coefficients Sij gets multiplied with the orthonormal basis functions phi j, and we sum up the product terms for j varying from 1 to n. Okay. Remember, I can have I varying from 1 to m and j varying from 1 to n in this case, as you can see. So equation 2, you please understand, is a equation 2 is a compact form of equations 3, 4, 5 and 6 combined. So it represents any of these equations. Is that clear? So this is how we start off by representing a given message signal in the form of a finite energy signal SI1 or SI2 or SIN, whatever. And every finite energy signal is written as a linear equation using orthonormal basis functions. Okay. Now, from equation 2, we can determine, if I want to find the value of the coefficients Sij as follows. See, what was equation 2? Equation 2 was Si is equal to summation Sij phi j. How do I express Sij now from these two values? Or how do you write Sij in terms of Si and phi j? How would we do it? Simple. Si is a signal in time. Instead of summation, I will integrate. See, if you integrate it, what happens? You integrate, let me say Sij would be integral 0 to t. Left hand side was Si of t, that multiplied with phi j of t dt. If I integrate, I'll be able to get the value of the coefficients. Okay. So if you want, you can substitute and see if you are still having a doubt, but that is the best way. In this equation, if I want to isolate the value of Sij here, all I have to do is I have to integrate Si of t and multiply it with phi j on both the sides. Remember, phi j square of t means on the right hand side its value will be 1. Yes or no? So whenever you have an integral, you can just check out what will happen. See, what would this be? You say verify what? Integral 0 to t. What was Si of t? What did we define Si of t here? Summation Sij into phi j. Write that linear equation. Summation Sij into phi j for j ranging from 1 to n here. Correct? This is Si. This into phi j of t dt. What would happen to this value? You see, phi j square of t would be 1 and summation of all the Sij, they are just coefficients or numbers. Integral between 0 to t, this would just result in the value Sij. You say because integral of phi j square t dt is equal to 1. Integral phi j square t dt is equal to 1. We know all these have unit energy. All the 5 values are unit energy signals. So whenever you are finding the energy under this, phi j into phi j will be phi j square. And whenever you consider that, it is 1. So this is how we represent the coefficients. What was the equation number? 7. Let me call this equation 7. Okay. This is how you represent the coefficients. Can we find the coefficients from equation 7? Can we represent it in the form of a block diagram? You say from equation 7, we can represent the coefficients, represent or find the coefficients as follows. What should I do? I need the signal SI for everything, and if I want to find the coefficients, say I want to find the coefficients SI1, SI2, so on till I'm interested in finding the coefficients SI1, SI2, so on based on this equation. What should I do? I should consider SI as the starting point. I should multiply SI with phi j. So if j is varying from 1 to 1, 1 to n, just like this, I should take, say, I'll take the signal SI of t and I'll multiply it with phi 1 first. And after multiplication, what happens? SI into phi 1, I have to integrate it from 0 to t. So once you multiply S1 with phi j, so SI is multiplied with phi 1, then you have to pass it through an integrator from 0 to t dt. The product should be integrated and that value will be SI1. Okay. So please understand from this equation 7, if I am interested in finding SI1, that means the j value is 1. Wherever you have j, you should put 1. So SI1, what would SI1 be? SI1 would be integral 0 to t SI of t into phi 1 of t dt. Yes or no? So multiply SI of t with phi 1 and then integrate it between 0 to t, and whatever you get, that is your coefficient SI1. Is that clear? Similarly, if you are interested in finding SI2, I should multiply SI with phi 2 of t and integrate the product between 0 to capital T. And whatever you get, that is SI2. Likewise, you can find any value of the coefficient. You multiply SI with phi n and you integrate it in the interval 0 to t. You will get SIN. So this is just the opposite process of getting the individual coefficients in the linear equation. And this was the process of getting the signal using the coefficients and the basis function. So this is getting the linear combination of coefficients into basis function to get the signal. Here, the reverse process. At the receiver side, what should you do? You have the signal, you multiply it with the basis function and you integrate, you will be getting back the coefficients. So here we are writing a process of getting back the coefficients. Here we are using the coefficients and basis functions to get the signal. Everywhere you see the basis functions should be used as shown. Is that clear? So please remember all these representations and equations, and also you have to now we will start with what exactly Gram-Schmidt method states. Therefore, Gram-Schmidt method say proceeds as follows. So what is this Gram-Schmidt procedure? This is a procedure to help us. Please understand here, or you write within brackets. It is a procedure used to find the value of orthonormal basis functions and the coefficients from the signals. So usually practically what happens, we have the signals at the receiver. Usually we will have the signals. Once you receive the signals, your job is to first extract the orthonormal basis functions, that is phi 1 to phi n. You have to extract these functions from the given signals, and you also have to extract the coefficients, what? Si1 to Sin. Find all the coefficients and the orthonormal basis functions. That is our job in Gram-Schmidt method, and using that we'll be able to recover the signals properly. So let's do step 1. As per step 1, I think we had named this first as equation 3, S1. Let's consider this equation. Please see. Okay. From equation 3, you say, from equation 3, set, we are going to follow something similar to our AC circuit analysis. If there are multiple signals or sources, what do we do in superposition? One at a time, or we'll analyze the circuit by considering one at a time, and in the end we will combine everything. So we'll follow the same set here based on our signal analysis. Set all coefficients Sij to 0 except S11. So from the first equation, I want to find the value of the coefficient S11 and phi 1. I want to find, so here we are interested in find phi 1 and S11. These are the two things I am interested in finding from the first equation, that is equation 3. Okay. So what should I do? In equation 3, I had what? S1 of t is S11 of t phi 1 of t plus S12 of t phi 2 of t, so on, S1n of t phi n of t. Here I am going to set all this to 0 now. All the other coefficients are 0. So what remains is S1 is equal to S11 of t into phi 1. Therefore, what would be the value of phi 1 of t? Very easily, I can define the first orthonormal function, basis function. Phi 1 would be represented as the given signal divided by the coefficient. Sorry, this is not, I don't have t here. These coefficients need not be a function. Okay. So I'm just repeating that first equation. That's all, no change. So how do I define the first orthonormal basis function here? I told you we are using the principle of superposition. We are making all others 0 and only the first coefficient we are considering. So you will have this equation. Let me call this as equation 8. Okay. But we know that phi 1 of t is a normalized function. Which implies, when do I say it is normalized? Its energy will be unity. Remember, if I find the energy in the signal phi 1, it should be 1. Okay. So you can say it implies hence the energy under phi 1. Phi 1 square of t dt under integral 0 to t is 1. And if I represent this value for phi 1, what do I get? Integral 0 to t s1 square t by s11 square. I'm just replacing phi 1 with this equation 8 using equation 8. Okay. Phi 1 is written as s1 by s11. And since I'm taking the energy, I should square both numerator and denominator. Let me call this as equation 9. Solving. Next, I'm interested. I've already found the value of the first basis function, phi 1. And what is the other aim in this Gram-Schmidt method? To find the coefficient for each case. S11 I should find now. After finding phi 1, I should find S11. So solving for S11 from equation 9, S11 if I take it outside, I'll get S11 would be the left hand side. I have phi 1 square of 1. I have 1 here. So if I bring it outside and cross multiply S11, I'm going to get what will be left on. See here, if I just simplify this 1 by S11 square comes outside. It is a coefficient and integral S1 square of t 0 to t dt. This remains. So what would be the value of S11? S11 square would be this, correct? Therefore, S11 would be root of integral 0 to t S1 square t dt. Please see here, I haven't done anything big or different here. I have just simplified this equation. Here we said 1 is equal to this value. So when I bring this outside the integral, because this won't vary with the integral, I don't have any t here. Okay, the time variable is not there. So it will be a constant. Bring it out of the integral and then take it to the left hand side. So 1 into S11 square. This becomes integral 0 to t S1 square dt, and which remains as this equation. Okay, let me call this equation 10. So using the first equation in these set of equations, from the first equation, equation 3, I was able to define what was the first orthonormal basis function phi 1 of t and also the first coefficient S11. Okay. So from the first equation, we were able to determine both the values of S11 and phi 1. We saw phi 1 is the given signal S1 of t divided by S11. and the value of S11, the coefficient would be root of the integral S1 square of t dt. Under square root you can write, or you can write to the power of half. Okay, anything you can write. Likewise, let's proceed with step 2. Step 2 in this Gram-Schmidt. Yarappa. Step 2 in this Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization. Let's start with equation 2. You say similarly, starting with equation 4. What was equation 4? It was the expression for S2 of t. S21 into phi 1, S22 into phi 2, S32 into phi 3, plus so on, correct, no? 23, sorry, this should be S23, S2n into phi n. Okay, this was equation 4. We had written it as a linear equation. S2 is S21 phi 1, S22 phi 2, S2n phi n. That was equation 4. So we'll start with the second equation. And here what should I do? I'll leave out the first two terms and coefficients because we already know the value of phi 1. I have to find phi 2, I have to find the coefficients S21 and S22. You say set all Sij to 0 except S21 and S22. Because we are considering only this to exist now. One by one we are trying to deal with it so that we'll be able to define all the coefficients. Okay, and from that we will get a standard equation. So let's consider what happens. Then S2 of t is equal to S21 into phi 1 of t plus S22 into phi 2 of t. Okay, so let me call this equation 11. Huh? Yeah, equation 11. Now, in order to simplify this and find this coefficient, to find S21, let's say multiply. We are doing some manipulations. What should I multiply? Any idea? Both sides of 11. See, when will S21 when will I get? If I multiply it with phi 1, multiply both sides of the equation with phi 1 of t. So I'll get phi 1 square. Integral phi 1 square is 1. So, and integrate between 0 to t. Do that. So the left hand side also multiply it with phi 1 and integrate it between 0 to t. S2 of t into phi 1 of t integrated. This becomes integral 0 to t S21 into phi 1 square of t. Okay. We are multiplying both sides of the equation with phi 1 of t and we are integrating between 0 to t. So you consider equation 11, left hand side is this, right hand side plus integral 0 to t S22 phi 1 of t into phi 2 of t dt. Can you tell me what will happen to this equation? Which terms will cancel out and which will remain? Yes, you should be familiar with the properties of phi now, orthonormal basis functions. This S21 is not dependent on time. So if I take S21 outside, what is this integral 0 to t phi 1 square of t dt? What is this value? Please speak up. It would be nice if you would talk instead of message. Anyway, it's right. You're right, Sharash Chandra. It's S21 and this is 1. Remember, they are unit energy signals. So this value is 1. And here, what will I have? I have S22 into integral phi 1 into phi 2. Here, phi 1 is different from phi 2. We know that all these signals are orthonormal. That means this value turns out to be 0. So I'll have it as S22 into 0. Okay. Orthonormal functions, both the properties came into picture here. First property tells that each one is a finite energy signal. So if you find the energy, their value will be 1. And a pairwise orthogonal. The signals phi j of t are pairwise orthogonal. So phi 1 into phi 2 integrated between 0 to t will always be 0. Therefore, I easily got the value of coefficient S21 can be obtained by integrating the given signal, received signal S2 of t, multiply it with phi 1 of t and integrate it. You will be able to find the coefficient S21. I think this becomes equation 12, right? Hope you are following. Anyway, you have to go and practice. Unless you practice, you will not be able to remember all these things. Understanding is not difficult. There is nothing. We are doing only mathematical manipulations here. Only thing is to remember, you have to practice. Now I have to find the coefficient S22. We already know what is phi 1. We had found phi 1 in the first case only. Phi 1 is S1 by S11. So we have already determined phi 1. I need not find. S21 is also found. So our next job is to find S22 and phi 2. I have to find this coefficient S22 and I have to find the value of the second orthonormal basis function phi 2. Can you tell me how can I find S22? From equation 11, let's say from 11, can I say S22 into phi 2 of t? Can it be written as S2 of t minus S21 into phi 1 of t? I'm just shifting the known term. See, we know the value of S21 into phi 1. If I shift it to the left hand side, I'll get S2 minus S21 into phi 1 as S22 into phi 2. And remember, all these values have been taken as 0, all the coefficients. We are trying to determine only these two. So what would be the value of? Now, in order to simplify this, we'll use the manipulation squaring and integrating between 0 to t. What do I get? I'll get 0 to t S22 square into phi 2 square of t. You can easily see integral phi 2 square. What will happen to this? I'll just get S22 square into 1. Yes or no? Remember the property phi 2 square under the integral is unit energy 1. So to isolate the value of S22, the simplest way is to square and integrate. The same thing I should do to the right hand side of this equation. What will I get? Integral 0 to t S2 of t minus S21 phi 1 whole square. I'm forgetting to write dt. Whole square dt. Correct? Is same as this. So how do I find S22 then? Here I'm getting S22 square on the left hand side. We are interested in the value of S22. It should be square root of integral 0 to t S2 of t minus S21 into phi 1 of t the whole square dt. Okay. So it is the square root of this function because I'm interested in finding S22. So you call this equation 13. The last step here would be to find phi 2. How do I find phi 2 now? Yes, from equation, did I name the equation here? Yeah, from equation 11. See, here we have defined S2 as S21 phi 1 plus S22 phi 2. From equation 11, can you define what would phi 2 be? Phi 2 can be written as, remember S22 gets multiplied with phi 2, 1 by S22 into left hand side I had S2 and right hand side I have S21 into phi 1. Right? From this equation, simple equation 11 you see here. If you want to express phi 2, it will be S2 minus S21 phi 1. Divided, whole thing divided by S22. So 1 by S22 into this. See, all these terms we know. This we have received. These two values we have already defined. S22 also we have already defined. So if I just go one step further in simplifying this, 1 by S22, I'll bring it to a standard form where we can represent all the equations. S2, S21 we know. What was phi 1 of t which we had written? What was the value of phi 1 here? Phi 1 of t from equation 8 is S1 by S11, right? The first fundamental orthonormal basis function phi 1 of t is S1 by S11. I'll write that. S1 of t by S11. You say using equation 8. I have used equation 8 for this. Okay. Now let me call this as equation 14 or 15. Yeah, equation 14. So we are able to find S21, S22, phi 1 and phi 2 as of now. So on similar lines, you can just generalize. You say on similar lines, we can determine from equation, what was that equation for S3, equation number S3 of the equation 5, this equation.